Hello everyone, welcome to our Comments and Answers TJ channel. I hope all of you are doing well. In this video, we're going to prepare for the Enjoy Life book study. And this week, we'll be studying Chapter 8, paragraphs 13 to 21. So, let's get started. We begin with the subtitle, He Started Preaching About Jesus. Questions 13 and 14. If you're studying the Bible but haven't been baptized yet, what do you learn from Saul's example? Saul's example teaches us the importance of acting promptly on what we learn from the Bible. Seeing Christ's miracle and experiencing His mercy personally, Saul didn't hesitate to respond. Acts chapter 9, verse 20, tells us how after his encounter with Christ on the road to Damascus, Saul was baptized and began preaching about Jesus in the synagogues. This act of immediate obedience highlights the need for a quick and decisive response to the truth we have come to know. Saul's case contrasts with others who witnessed miracles but didn't respond in the same way. In Mark chapter 3, verses 1 to 6, we see how the Pharisees witnessed Jesus healing a man with a paralyzed hand, but their reaction was one of apathy and even hostility. Saul, however, allowed his encounter with Christ to completely transform his life. As we read in Philippians chapter 3, verse 8, Saul's example challenges us to overcome any human obstacles or fears and to prioritize our relationship with Jehovah above all else. If we follow Saul's example, we'll be willing to preach Christ's message and prepare for baptism, without allowing anything to stop us. Questions 15 and 16. What did Saul start doing in the synagogues, and how did the Jews of Damascus react? Saul began preaching about Jesus in the synagogues of Damascus. This action undoubtedly surprised, confused, and even enraged the Jews who knew him as a fierce persecutor of Jesus' followers. His message challenged the deeply rooted beliefs and religious traditions of the Jewish community. In Acts chapter 9, verse 21, we see how the Jews incredulously asked, "Is this not the man who violently attacked those who called on this name in Jerusalem?" As we see in Acts chapter 9, verse 22, Saul explained his change of beliefs by using logic. He reasoned logically that Jesus was the Christ. However, logic cannot always open hearts and minds closed by entrenched traditions or human pride. Despite Saul's efforts, 3 years later, the Jews of Damascus were still against him. As we see in Acts chapter 9, verse 23, the Jews went so far as to plan his death. Faced with this imminent danger, Saul was forced to flee the city discreetly, helped by those who had become his disciples. This suggests that some of those who heard his message in the synagogues of Damascus accepted the truth about Jesus. Question 17, Part A. How do people react to biblical truths? People's reactions to biblical truths can vary widely. Some may accept them immediately, while others may show skepticism, resistance, or even hostility. Some may be receptive to logic and reasoning based on Scripture, while others may be so entrenched in their traditions or pride that they reject any attempts at persuasion. Each individual's experience may be unique, and their response may depend on a variety of factors such as cultural background, previous beliefs, or personal disposition. Question 17, Part B. What should we continue to do, and why? Despite the various reactions we may encounter when preaching biblical truths, it's important to maintain exemplary conduct and persevere in preaching efforts. Although some may reject our words, our godly conduct and loving approach may positively influence them in the long run. Additionally, we should continue to refine our methods for reasoning with others, using scriptures as we're exhorted in Acts chapter 17, verse 2. Through patience, perseverance, and confidence in God's guidance, we can remain steadfast in our mission to share biblical truths. Questions 18 and 19, Part A. What happened because Barnabas stood up for Saul? As we see in Acts chapter 9, verses 26 and 28, thanks to Barnabas standing up for Saul, the apostles in Jerusalem received Saul with open arms and accepted him as one of them. This show of support and endorsement was crucial for Saul's integration into the community. Additionally, Saul had the courage to boldly preach the gospel in Jerusalem, despite the risk of persecution from those who knew him as a persecutor of Jesus' disciples. However, when the situation became dangerous, the congregation helped him escape to Caesarea and then sent him to Tarsus for safety. Questions 18 and 19, Part B. How can we imitate both Barnabas and Saul? We can imitate both Barnabas and Saul in several ways. Like Barnabas, we can take the initiative to support and assist newcomers in their spiritual journey. This may involve preaching with them, teaching them, encouraging them, and helping them develop their preaching skills. By doing so, we can cultivate strong friendships and strengthen unity within the congregation. We can imitate Saul by accepting the help and advice of those who have more experience in the faith. Recognizing our need for support helps us grow spiritually and develop greater skill in preaching and ministry. By collaborating with other brothers and learning from their experience, we can strengthen our faith and contribute more effectively to the advancement of the work. Let's move on to the next subtitle, Many Believed in the Lord. Questions 20 and 21. How have God's servants of the past and present taken advantage of periods of peace? God's servants of the past and present have known how to take advantage of periods of peace to strengthen their faith, build up the congregation, and advance preaching. As we see in Acts chapter 9, verse 31, after Saul became a disciple and escaped from Jerusalem, the congregation entered a period of peace in Judea, Galilee, and Samaria. During this time, the apostles and other responsible leaders dedicated themselves to strengthening the faith of the disciples and leading the work well. For example, Peter encouraged the brothers in the city of Lydda, resulting in the conversion of many inhabitants of the region. In more recent times, Jehovah's Witnesses experienced a period of peace in many countries at the end of the 20th century. The sudden disappearance of oppressive regimes and the elimination of prohibitions against preaching work provided Jehovah's Witnesses with the opportunity to preach openly. Thousands upon thousands of brothers seized this opportunity, and the results were spectacular, with a significant increase in preaching and congregation growth. Well, those have been the practical answers about the congregation book study for this week. I hope it's very helpful for you, my dear brothers and sisters. I send you a big hug, and may Jehovah bless and protect you always.